Hi. Hey, welcome back to the Real Estate Excellence Podcast. Adding value is what I'm going to bring to you today. I have one of the best and most sought after ladies in the industry here, especially in Northeast Florida. She's well known, especially in the Keller Williams market, but she has gone out and coached some of the best in the industry all the way up to the Georgia line down south, and probably even further than that. I know you've told me stories about different people in different areas. So I have Angi Bell of Angi Bell Coaching on. It's that time of the year. Everybody's talking about it. I'm starting to see on social media. It's start to set our goals for 24, start to set our business plan for 24. Angi's an expert at that in helping you really dig deep in that. And obviously this is going to be this is a little different year than like 1 year ago when you were planning for 23. 24 is a little different. We're going in much higher interest rates, a little, things going on in the world. So I want Angie's opinion on that. And we talked a little pre-show. She's got her opinion on the NAR lawsuit, as well as if you just listened to my last podcast with Patty Ketchum that I did last week. So Angi, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tracy. It's great to be here. It's great to see you.
I'm so glad we could hook up, because I think it's important. As like I said, we just talked about the brokerages now are, they're doing their lunch and learns, they're doing their trainings. Now it's trying to get everyone focused in, but there's a lot of stress in the industry because it's not like it was in, planning for 23, or especially planning for 22 or 21, that we've come full circle around from, I think, pre-COVID. Imagine planning in 2019. Everybody's excited of the demand and everything, but everything's kind of shut down here a little bit, obviously, with market conditions, interest rates, and that sort of thing. And I want you to kind of tell us a little about what you're coaching to your clients. But let's start off with the importance, the benefits right now. Why is your brokerage doing this? Are they just doing it to get somebody up in front of you and say they gave you a guest speaker today? Why is it important? And what have you found in top real estate agents setting that business plan, setting those goals for, obviously, this case 24?
Yeah, Tracy, it's a great question. And, I always conduct a business planning workshop, this time of the year in the fall, so that people can be prepared for the next year and beyond. And for me, it's so important for me to help my clients and the people who attend my courses to understand that the first step is to define success on their terms. Mm-hmm. And it's so easy in this business because, the industry rewards big numbers, volume, gross commission income, and sales units. And all that's great. It's fantastic. In fact, once someone has defined what success looks like for their business, we're going to do the math to help them determine how much of each of those categories they need to acquire in the year to achieve their goals. But the reality is that if someone's not creating goals that are in alignment with who they are and with what they want their life to be about, they're not going to achieve them. The brain is going to smell a fish, if you will, and it will steer them away from goals that are strictly numbers based, that don't have anything to do with their life. So, just to even back up a little further, I always tell people it's not about achieving the goal. It's about becoming the type of person who sets and achieves goals. And, people get into business to fund their life. Business is about solving a problem for profit. And so realtors, like any other small business owner, get into business. They want to create profitability to fund their lifestyle. So I have them tap into what they want their life to be about, what they want their business to represent in their life. And, as the Bible says, what does it profit a man to gain the world and lose his soul in the process? And so many realtors have lost their soul to the business. And it's not because they're not good people. It's because they are good people and they really want to serve their clients at a high level. Listen, I know realtors can get a bad rap as being, out for a commission. I don't find that in my experience. I find realtors to be incredibly humble, servant-hearted people who really want to help home buyers and sellers. But as a result, they kind of get themselves caught up in a business that can run them 24/7, 365 days a year. So I take them back. Let's tap into what you want. What is it actually? What's the amount of money you want to bring into your household to fund that life? And then let's set a business plan that encompasses all of that. And
How do
this
you
is
how do
kind
you
of the deal.
differentiate? I mean, someone listening, and you know, myself included here, you know, when you kind of ask that question, well, how much money do you want to make? Well, I want to make all the money that I can. I want to drive a Bentley. I want to have a house on the beach and a house in the mountains of North Carolina or whatever. You know, we we want to live like the guys on Bravo, right? You know, the housewives or whatever. We want to, you know, go out and buy whatever we want to buy and have the black card, right? American Express black card and spend whatever. I mean, how do you really start to break down? Because I think the the differentiator from those who set goals in a business plan to those who don't are those who actually get down to the rubber meets the road reality. And how do you work with one of your clients in breaking that, you know, to really finite that goal? Because I think, isn't that important to really
Super important.
be specific?
Yeah, and the first week of the business plan, because I spread it out over 6 weeks so people have an opportunity to do the work between each session. But the first thing that I have them do is go through a personal budget to find out what does it actually cost to live the life that they currently live. And then I let them layer in those additional things that they may desire, whether it's a Bentley or a home in North Carolina, a boat, what a vacation, you know, saving for their future, investment property. That's a big one, right? That I encourage all realtors to buy investment property.
Mhm.
But we layer all of that in. And then when you get an actual number, then we create the plan to make that happen. Now, here's the thing: like the example that you're giving, and I don't find many people that that's their goal, right? To live like the guys on Bravo.
Mhm.
But I would have to ask that person: are you willing to do what would have to be done to earn that kind of income? That's why having clarity about your goals and what kind of a lifestyle you want. I'll give you an example. I have a client that is, you know, essentially a newlywed, but no children. I have another client who is very active with her children. They are both top producing realtors. And I tell them all the time, you guys can't compare yourselves to each other because one is still in that business building phase where their business is so vitally important to them and they're sort of building an empire. The other is wanting to create a business that's still successful, profitable, and satisfying, but also accommodates the family that this agent, you know, wants to. She doesn't want these years to be left behind. And so each of them has a different amount of time and resources that they can dedicate to their business. So they get, you know, they both are very successful. They get slightly different outcomes, but we had to look. What are you willing to dedicate to the business, and what is a non-negotiable? And I want people to have those non-negotiables. You know, I believe that being wealthy is being able to do what you want, when you want, as much as you want, with whomever you want. And that to me is true wealth. So that it looks different.
True freedom, right?
Uh,
Isn't
that's
a lot of the
freedom.
wealth freedom? It's freedom. Yeah, to
That's right.
do.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah. So we start with actual numbers. Like, let's figure it out. What is the amount of money you need or want to bring into your household to contribute if you're not the, you know, the sole provider? And then we build a business plan around that. Because when you set these, you know, moonshot goals, and I believe that we should all have those, but when it comes to your actual business plan, something that's so far beyond what you know you actually need and the time that you're willing to dedicate to your business, your BS meter in your brain is going to go on full alert and you're going to be less likely to achieve those goals than if you have goals that are in alignment with your values, with what you want for your business. And then we just do the math and then maybe we stretch that a little. And that's what your business plan looks like. The moonshot goals, yeah, we've got those too. Everybody should have those.
How
That keeps
how
you
do
inspired.
you've over the years you've worked with many different people from all walks of life, basically coming from every different angle. A lot of people, obviously, you know, I'm going to just throw Tom Ferry's name out there, but not to pin anything on him. But they can go to different trainings, and they're like, "Well, this is the way I did it." you got to get on the phone and make 100 calls a day and boom, boom, boom. And obviously that scares a lot of people away. But one thing great about our industry, whether it's on the real estate agent side or the lending side, there's different ways to skin the cat, so to speak. There's different ways to do this business. How do you dig deep into an individual client you're working with to exploit that method of marketing, networking, those fancy words, as far as, what's in their wheelhouse? What do they like to do? What are they going to get up and want to do every day?
Yeah, that's a great question. As an executive director with the John Maxwell team, I'm a certified DISC consultant. And so if our viewers are not familiar, the DISC is a behavioral assessment tool that was developed back in the 1920s by Dr. William Marston. And it sort of helps us better understand what makes us tick, how we make decisions, how we pace ourselves. And so you have the D, the dominant style, the I, the inspiring style, the S, the steady style, and the C, the compliant style. And we're all a mix of those things. When I begin coaching with someone one-on-one, that's the first thing we do, is we do a DISC assessment so that I can better understand who they are and then help them better understand who they are, what makes them tick. A lot of what we learn in DISC is about how they're going to be able to show up most effectively as a salesperson in real estate, and how they're going to be able to better understand their clients so that they can practice the platinum rule, right? Which says, do unto others as they would have you do unto them, right? Let's take that to the next level. And then I dig into their human needs psychology. What is it that they need? What makes them tick? What are the values that drive them? And once I get a better understanding of their model of the world, I can help them design a marketing plan for their business and a sales strategy for their business that does resonate with them. So I think part of the challenge with some of the more formulaic real estate coaching that you might find out there is that, we're going to, no matter what shape you are, we're going to put you in the same, whatever shape your peg is, you're going in the same hole. And it doesn't work for some people. For some people, they love to cold call. For some people, they love to send out letters. Some people love to door knock. My experience says that most people would rather focus on relationships. And we know that real estate is a relationship-based business. When the National Association of Realtors surveys home buyers and sellers year after year, the data is clear. People want to do business with someone they know, like, and trust. And that often comes from a referral or a relationship. And so, bottom line, I'm going to help my clients build a healthy database that's filled with relationships. Because all of these other things, while they can be useful, I'm not knocking anything, there are a lot of ways to, as you said, skin the cat. P.S. No cats were harmed in the filming of the podcast. But there are a lot of ways to do it. It still does rely on an agent's ability to develop relationships. Wherever the lead came from, their ability to develop that relationship and then stay in touch with that person for a lifetime. That's what's going to determine the size of their business, right? So business, your database is your business. And so we're going to find the right sales strategy, the right way to have conversations with people, and the right marketing channels that are going to be ones that you find easier, more comfortable, more exciting, and more inspiring. Not saying you don't have to do hard things.
Expand a little bit. Obviously, a lot of people I know, in the industry have taken the DISC assessment or, heard about it. So they've been to some training and they've taken it and they've seen the results and they're like, oh yeah, that sounds like me. But with your expertise, your more in-depth training, and then obviously your experience in reading other people's findings through the DISC assessment, how are you taking that to another level? That just looking at your report is not good. How are you actually taking that and making it a useful tool for that individual to truly understand? Well, you tell me, what is it you want to out of that DISC assessment? What are you taking it to help leverage you to be a better coach of that person?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's really multifaceted because initially, it's really for me to understand them, because I cannot coach all of my clients the same way. They're very different people. And so I have to keep that DISC assessment front and center with every call that I have with my clients, so that I can speak their language. I don't want to talk at them, right? I want to have that conversation with them. And in order to do that effectively, I have to be able to speak their language. Secondly, I am able to help them better read, if you will, their clients, right? So that they can
That was my
practice.
next question. How
Yeah,
are you?
so
Yeah.
that they can practice the platinum rule. I'll give you a great example. So I have a client. She is been in the business about 4 years now. So let's face it, she entered the business when things were really starting to pick up. And you and I would agree, I think, on this, that in the last few years, your competitive advantage was speed, right? You had to get there first.
Yep.
And so now that the market has shifted and it's continuing to shift, some of her early success, because she has been incredibly successful for only being in the business a few years, some of her original success, she's starting to struggle a little bit and not understand, like, why is the consumer so hesitant. And so on a weekly basis, we will often take some of her existing clients and leads that she's nurturing in her pipeline, and I'll ask her to tell me about them. And as she does, I'm able to help her then craft a conversation that will help her to feel confident and help her to transfer that confidence and certainty to the client, so that they can make the best decision. This isn't about manipulating sales. It's about nothing other than transferring certainty to her clients, so that they can feel comfortable and confident that she's helping them make the best decision.
We
Now,
are
that
dealing
is
in an
100%.
emotional, buying a house it's an emotional thing. It's a life-changing thing. And being able to connect with them better makes you a better representative.
100%. It's all about communication. So it's not that she doesn't know what she's doing or she can't help them. She wasn't aware of more effective ways to communicate with them so that they could feel her confidence and certainty. And so by using DISC, knowing who her clients are, and then being able to have conversations that are more empowering, she's finding her success is continuing. And those are things you're not going to learn when you're just using some script and,
Right.
following some formula for how to, convert a lead. That is about caring. That's when you serve from your heart. And that's the kind of coaching that I do. So she feels better. Her clients feel better. Buyers and sellers get to buy and sell, which, let's face it, that's exactly what they want. And that's why they hire a realtor.
Because, again, going in, we're talking about 24 goals and business plan. You're going to be spending more time with your buyers than you probably have in the last 3 years. Looking not only with lack of inventory out there, but obviously finding the ideal home for you, for them. You're going to be spending more time. So having this, it's not as transactional as it may have been in 20 and 21, where it's like, find the first house and let's see if we can beat out the offer. And it was all about the battle. Now you're actually, like you said, spending some time in the car with them or whatever, driving around, and you need to strengthen this relationship, which ultimately, I would imagine, part of their goals should be, strengthening that relationship, having a great relationship so you can get referrals.
100%. Let's think about this. So, when speed to market was your greatest competitive advantage, by the time you got a lead, you were under contract. If you were the fastest, you were under contract fairly quickly. And then things sped along to the closing table and you were on to the next deal. Now, I'm grateful that people are going to have time to further develop relationships. So when you've worked with someone for 6, 8, 12 weeks, and they've really gotten to know you, they've demonstrated how much they care about you, they've understood you, you feel heard, and then, you were guided to a successful closing, you're more likely to recommend that person than if, you were just thrown in the back seat, rushed to a house, you're under contract and closed. What is the value that you can ascribe to that person if you barely even got to know them because everything was so fast. So I see a blessing in taking a breath and slowing down and taking our time with people, because we all know that, right? John Maxwell teaches that anytime someone meets us at a subconscious level, they're asking, do you care about me? Can I trust you? And then can you help me? Right? Do you
Are
care
you
about
seeing?
me?
Are you seeing now? Well, I don't know if we're kind of. I don't think people have quite seen the wave, like the inflationary wave is from the market. We're now really starting to feel it. I mean, I went and bought a steaks on Sunday, and I could have vomited when I saw the per pound price. Yeah, uh, but now you're starting to look at 24, starting a business plan. You're like, well, it's not the rush. It's not the leads aren't coming in so fast, and then get them out and show them a home. Let's, we got a contract on it a day or two, whatever, that evening, and that kind of rush. Now it might be time to, sharpen that sword. Take some time, do a disc assessment. I was thinking about an analogy before coming on with you was, on January 1st, everyone says they're going to go on their diet plan and all the gym memberships go up, right?
Yep.
Are you seeing that? Are you starting to have more interaction with beginning agents, top agents? Because I do know you got a coach as soon as you got in the business as a real estate agent. Are you seeing a little bit more talk that, hey, Angie, I may need I'm going to take some time right now because it is slower to sharpen my sword and work with you a little more closely?
Yeah, well, I work with top agents, and I am actually going to be conducting some group coaching sessions next year that would accommodate, more folks that are maybe newer to the business, or people that really do just want to sharpen their saw as they have more time to do that. And I think, I've had a coach now continuously since about 2003. And so I can't even imagine my life without someone there to be
Mm-hmm.
my champion, my cheerleader, and my challenger. Like, I need to have my ass kicked as much as the next person, right? I think it's vitally important. But as we continue to move through a shifting and shifted market with all of the things that are swirling around outside, it's going to be more important than ever for people to have that voice of reason, that person that's there to guide them, to champion them, like I said, to challenge them and keep them on track. This is the perfect time to think about doing that, because it's a crazy world out there.
Mm-hmm.
In the business planning workshop, the first session, I have conversations. I ask them to really put some thought into a couple of key questions. Like, number one is, how's business? Like, just get real. It's not about, flogging yourself because you didn't achieve your goals, but just being honest. You'll never reach your full capacity unless you're willing to interrogate your current reality. So I ask them, how's business? And then I ask them, where are you now compared to where you thought you'd be or wanted to be? That's your gap, right? And then the third question is, what's preventing you from achieving your goals, from bridging that gap? And I think it's an important topic to consider for each of us individually. And then I challenge them and I ask them, how many of the things you just wrote down are things that are outside of your control, like interest rates, the Federal Reserve, politics, war, pandemics, you know, consumer lack of consumer confidence, anything that's going on out there. Because anything you've written down as the reason that you haven't achieved your goals that's outside of your control, you're doomed. Because we should be focused on what we can control. And so I want them to flip that script and look, what can I do differently, regardless of the climate out there? What can I be doing differently to still work towards achieving my goals?
Right.
And certainly for some folks, this hesitancy in the market, including, obviously that's fueled a lot by interest rates and some of these lawsuits that are now being settled. Those things will have an effect on the marketplace. But the truth is, a lot of people will exit the business, I'm sure, in the coming 12 to 18 months. There will probably be fewer people coming in. So can you think about, there's a lot of market share that will be available out there for me to pick up from those
Well,
people that
that
aren't
tips in.
prepared.
We started talking about it, and I cut off our pre-show discussion. Um, the NAR lawsuit, right? That's an outside distraction. We can't control that. You should know about it, but would you agree? I mean, if there's any training going on right now, is how to address that should, which I think is going to be minimal. I do not think the public, in my opinion, the 95% of the public has no idea this lawsuit's going on, and because of that, I don't think anything's truly going to change except some addendums, as we talked about the buyer's page. But talk a little bit as that, because as you're coaching, I imagine the top agents are abreast of it, and what are they talking about, and how are they going to address it with their buyers and sellers as far as that's concerned, and nip it in the bud and be done with it.
Yeah, and a lot of my clients, Tracy, this isn't really a concern for them because they have been consistently conducting thorough buyer consultations from the get-go. And many of them have used the buyer agreement for a really long time now. And I do believe that, it is incumbent upon realtors to be able to articulate their value to the consumer. And truth be told, if all you do is throw the buyers in the back seat and go open doors for them, I don't believe that you've demonstrated the true value. Every realtor knows that the work that it takes to secure a buyer lead and then help that buyer find a home and then get them to a closing table is as important as the work that you do with a seller. And so if you're not doing a buyer consultation, if you're not articulating that value, don't be surprised when you have a challenge. But the reality is that leaders anticipate and losers react. And so at this point, I have some personal questions about where are the brokerages, where are the state associations, the local boards, and of course, NAR. Were they not anticipating that this was coming and preparing agents? Or are we now just going to be in reactionary mode and everybody's going to scramble to try to find a way to cover their, what's throughout this process? I think agents should embrace this. If they have not been doing buyer consultations or using a buyer agreement, they should embrace this as an opportunity to up-level their game, to set a new standard, to step up and really show the consumer how much they care and what the value is that they are bringing to the consumer. And
I think you would agree that this is not going to change the number of houses that are bought and sold next year.
Correct.
And the question is, what percentage of those houses are you going to be involved in?
Yes.
Transactions.
I think I was fortunate. I got into real estate because I was a realtor. I got into real estate in 2006, shortly before the market crashed. And honestly, I guess ignorance was bliss. I sold a lot of real estate. When a lot of people were running around crying that the sky was falling, I remember there was an agent in my office who wore a button that says, "I refuse to participate in the recession." And so I was like, I'm with this guy. And so I just went out and found people who wanted to buy and sell homes. And I was very successful throughout that time. And so I think this is another example of that. Are there going to be some changes? Absolutely. It's probably in the long run going to be a really good thing for the real estate industry because it will be very clear what listing agents do and what buyer's agents do. The consumer will really understand the value that a realtor can bring to them. And I believe, regardless, I've been in this industry for 17 years, and I believe that regardless of what changes occur, the consumer wants a realtor. They want someone who can help them navigate the process of buying or selling a home. Right. And so, we're going to separate those who can from those who can't. And that's probably a good thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, much like you're great athletes, you yourself have a coach, great salespeople. The top people all tell you that they have a coach currently. So I know there's people talk about they have a couple coaches, but have had a coach at some time or another. It's the same thing when they're going to go buy a home. You have to be, they want that coach, they want that confident, they want that person who's on their side no matter what and has their back, because they're going into something they only do several times in their life for most people. They don't know what's behind the door. They want that person that's experienced to hold their hand and guide them through and let them know everything's okay.
Yeah, 100%.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to ask you, we spent a few days back in 2019 at the John Maxwell. You've gone deep into the Maxwell team and continue. I know you were, I don't know, you could tell us a little bit what you were big Tony Robbins before that and how much you're doing. How does being part of those organizations, how does that help you when you're doing your whether it's a group training or your one-on-one? I know there's a lot of John Maxwell and Tony Robbins, they make you feel good. Those guys are just, the energy that comes out of them, the knowledge, just something about it just gives you, your adrenaline gland goes off type of thing. How has that changed since 2019 and digging deep into John Maxwell improved your coaching? I assume it has.
Yeah, that's great. So, I've been engaged with the Tony Robbins organization since 2012 and am trained and certified through his Robbins Madonna's coaching. And now I'm on the leadership track with the Tony Robbins organization. And, what Tony really teaches is the psychology of success. And most people want the how, like, tell me what to do and I'll go do it.
Right.
But the truth is,
that's me.
If you don't get the psychology right, though, it's not going to stick. It's going to be a lot harder to achieve those goals. This is that concept of who are you becoming in the process of setting and achieving goals. So my work with Tony continues, and as part of the leadership team, I'm learning a lot more behind the scenes, how he does what he does. Certainly, he is an inspiring figure, and he can really get your adrenaline going. But strategically, he's the best. He will teach you how to run a business. He will teach you how to create success in any area of your life. And I take a lot of my cues from Tony because he has changed my life. He's changed my life. And as far as the John Maxwell team, John is the #1 leading authority on leadership. And I think that we are in a place right now, globally, all from the very top all the way down to the family, we are in critical need of leaders. We are so weak in terms of leadership at all levels. And so the reason that I went deeper with the John Maxwell team is because I believe that it all starts with leadership. Mm-hmm. And so I want my clients to be leaders of their businesses. I want them to be leaders in their family, in their communities of faith, in their charitable organizations. And when we all can be stronger, better leaders of ourselves and our immediate world, that's going to ripple out into our larger communities, our country, and the world at large. And so that's what John brings to the table, is that, that ability to encourage leadership, to teach leadership. And leaders are not born, they are made. And so I challenge everyone watching this, everyone listening to this, and and all of my clients, how can you step up and lead yourself and your immediate world in a better way so that you can have a positive impact on the world around you? And so, with the John Maxwell team, my goodness, we can teach you how to better communicate, how to be a more effective leader, how to lead a team better. All of those things are super important. So I love being part of the John Maxwell team for so many reasons. But I look forward next year, I'm going to be offering the Maxwell method of sales that are going to really help people dig deep into how to be a better salesperson.
Cool. Angie, what is your, you probably talk about this with some of your clients, like what's your avatar, right? What's the I think the perfect person to coach. You would think most people come in with issues or whatever, but it's not really issues. Would you agree? You've got agents who are experienced, they're doing well, but they want to take it to another level. Is that the type of people that you primarily are coaching right now?
Yes, in the one-on-one setting, people come to me, their business has grown, they're seeing that growth, but they're feeling that pinch because they've, most of them have hit that ceiling
Mm-hmm.
where at some level they're not going to get to the next level without some assistance, without some better systems, and without some leverage, potentially through virtual or, actual folks on their team. And so in the one-on-one setting, I love working with top agents who are ready to take it to the next level and potentially build a team of their own of some, any size really.
Right.
In the group settings, I love working with teams because it's, you've got someone at the top who is probably a great leader, maybe not a great coach, or they just need another voice to come in and support what they've been attempting to do with their team. And the team loves having someone who's kind of on their side, who gets them individually, but wants to raise them up collectively. And then I do some small group cohorts that are, more like boot camps or breakthrough programs that could be a combination of a small group of agents from any level, really, that wants to grow, but maybe they're not ready for that one-on-one yet. So in that one-on-one, yeah, I love those agents they've got a knot on their head because they keep bumping up against their ceiling of achievement.
When you talk about mindset, because I think a lot of people don't realize, how they are successful to a certain level. They may be listening to this because, well, I'm not that top agent, when really they actually are. They don't realize they are actually doing really well. They've hit this lid and don't realize why they're sort of treading water, that reaching out to you for a consultation and figuring out whether or not they would be a good coaching client to truly move their business to another level. They shouldn't be so shy about it. But would you agree that a lot of people underestimate themselves in that?
100%, 100%. Because in many brokerages, your knowledge of what somebody else is doing can be limited. And it's oftentimes the agents that are promoted at the meetings, are the ones that are really at a different level and, maybe sleeping under their desk because they're just working so hard. So maybe their quote success seems out of reach for you. A lot of agents think, I'm already working 7 days a week. I can't work any harder. So how can I possibly grow? And so I encourage people, just reach out, set up a complimentary discovery call with me. I'm happy to talk with anyone who wants to know if they're ready. But the truth is, like you and I know about coaching, we need them at all levels. I mean, I've got grandchildren. They've got coaches for everything that they do: guitar, basketball, baseball, swimming, all of those things. They've got people that are helping them along so that they can find better, more effective ways to, become successful at whatever it is. So I think we're all familiar with the concept from a very early age. And let's face it, the best teachers are coaches. So, it's all part of it. It's interesting that so many people get into business and think, I should know how to do this and I shouldn't need someone to help me. That's insane.
Right.
We all know that when you work with someone who is an expert and can help you grow, you're going to grow faster than if you try to figure it out on your own. And that's the magic, I think, of coaching. It's that collaborative effort to help you get to your best next level. And that's what I love to do.
Excellent. I appreciate you coming on today. Angi, you post on LinkedIn quite a bit. That's your kind of your social media space, if we want to call it. Angi at angibell.com. Obviously, from the audio version, this will be on the show notes and Apple and Spotify and everything, her contact information. But simply look up Angi with an I, Bell, simple as that, on LinkedIn and reach out and have that one-on-one consultation. I don't underestimate yourself. I think this is a perfect time to reset because, like you said, a lot of people are going to drop out of the industry, both in the mortgage side's already seen huge losses. And we're going to find out as the year ticks along, the amount of licenses that are being pursued for new agents and so forth, I'm sure is dropping. Agents are going to fall out. And are you going to attack 2024 with a sharpened sword, and go out there and get a little more than you did in 23, even though the market might not be as healthy as it was in an early part of this year.
Yeah, 100%. And regardless of where you are in your business, this is your time. Take a breath, figure out what you need to focus on in order to grow to the next level, whatever that next level is. Don't be in despair about what's going on out there. You can't control any of it. You can only control yourself. And so go build relationships and you'll have success.
I always have one more question, and I want your opinion on this. We've had a lot of agents that became agents in 2018, 19, and they've only seen, they weren't in 2006 like you and I were in there and saw what happened in 7 and 8 and wondered, are we in the right industry? Should we get out of this type of thing? They had success. They are a successful agent. Maybe they may be a little nervous about 2024 because they really do need to have that coach, that confidant in their corner to square away their business now that they've accumulated all these past clients over the last few years. And now they really need to truly, milk those clients and the referrals and to continue their business into 24. Would you agree?
Yes, 100%, 100%. And I would say to anybody who hasn't experienced a market other than the one we just sort of came out of, buckle up. This is business. This is real estate. This, just like the economy, it is all cyclical. And so we are in the winter, but spring always follows winter. Are you going to be prepared? Are you going to be ready? Or are you going to be behind the 8 ball, as they say? And I think even if you feel that your business has slowed, just keep jogging. It's a hell of a lot easier to pick up the pace and run again from a slow jog than from sitting on the bench. So keep moving forward, regardless of whether, you may have a flat year next year or you may experience a slight decline. It doesn't have to be that way, but if it is, don't give up. This is 100% up to you. And if you go into your office and people are crying about the sky is falling, get out of there and go have a conversation with someone, because a conversation will lead to a transaction, which will lead to repeat and referral business. That's the name of the game. It's that simple. Go take care of people.
Angie, love you. Appreciate it. Great stuff today.
Thanks, Tracy.